Let's go to meteorologist Tamara Berg with a look at our Monday morning forecast.
Yeah, sun is coming up as we speak there. That was the Exchange Hotel Skycam. You've got temperatures right now that are starting out in the 60s, so it's kind of a mild feel to the start of the day. You could see a beautiful burst of color on the horizon. We're just about 12 minutes shy of official sunrise. So 60s right now with that light south wind at only 3 miles per hour. Across the day at Planner today, winds will stay pretty light. We'll be already in the low 70s by 8 o'clock this morning, mid 80s by 10 a.m. By lunchtime, it feels toasty outside with temperatures in the mid 90s, and we'll move up into the upper 90s around 2 o'clock with most areas reaching 100+ degrees again for this Monday. We have upper 60s right now, pretty mainstream, Stockton and Modesto. And when you see the temperature that's fairly uniform with the valley floor in a spot like Fairfield at 65, you know that there's not much in the way of cool air moving across Fairfield. So while there is a delta breeze here flowing out of the southwest at 13, there's just no cool air again on top of it. That's because the marine there has really shrunk down along the coast of California. Some fog starting to develop here on the central coast, but really nothing significant there into the Bay Area. So as we go through the day today, expect that temperatures will have a chance to heat up, but once more of this marine there starts to thicken up in the overnight hours and the delta breeze comes on top of it, we've got the stage set for some cooler temperatures Tuesday through the rest of the week. I'll have more on that full forecast coming up. 8602 right now. Headlights out there on the highways. Brian, how's it look out there?
Yeah, things looking pretty good across the Sacramento area right now. Highway 50 coming in from Folsom. You can see here no delays as you make your way down into the downtown area with a little bit of slowing right on the Fix 50 project there on the WX freeway. Interstate 80 out of Roseville, no problems. Coming in through the Cap City freeway also across the top, no problems there. 5 and 99 out of Elk Grove also running at the speed limit right now with Interstate 80 across the causeway, no delays there. 5 and 99 through Stockton, no problems, incident free there. And then westbound Highway 4 looking good off to the Bay Area. As we look at 132 in Vernalis, so we do have a fatal crash there. It's at East Greenwood Road, causing some slowdowns there on west and eastbound. And then also Schulte Road at Lammers Road, just south of Schulte, we had a vehicle versus motorcycle collision there with some lane closures. And now on the eastbound side of 205 at Mountain House Parkway, we've got a slowdown with a crash there, 2 vehicles in the center divide. And then westbound 205 starting to slow down a little bit at 25 minutes right now. Westbound 580 over the Altamont Pass, 26 minutes, and no delays on 99 from Modesto to Manteca. And here in Sacramento, you can see everything running at the limit, no delays. Back to you.
Brian, thanks so much. Now to a developing story out of Southern California. 3 people dead after 2 firefighting helicopters collided while in the air.
Yeah, it happened last night in Riverside County, just west of Palm Springs. KCRA3's Aaron Heff joins us live in the newsroom with what happened there. Aaron?
Yeah, the 3 people who died in the crash were the contracted pilot, a CAL FIRE division chief, and a CAL FIRE captain. The midair crash happened around 6 o'clock last night in Cabazon. Fire crews were responding to a vegetation fire that was spreading through the area from an original structure fire. According to CAL FIRE, the 2 helicopters involved were a call-as-needed resource to bolster state response to larger fires. The 2 involved were among 6 fighting a 3-acre fire. When the 2 helicopters collided, one of the aircraft was able to land safely while the other crashed, which started its own fire and killed all of those inside.
We think about this and how it affects the families. They have lost, we have lost 3 great individuals.
At this time, the crash is being investigated by both the FAA and NTSB. Brandy, back to you.
Aaron, thanks so much. Also this morning, Sacramento County deputies are searching for a man who they say shouted hateful threats to a group of people last night.
A pretty scary situation. Yeah. KCRA3's Melanie Wingo joins us live in Rancho Cordova this morning to explain what happened and who they're looking for. Melanie.
Yeah, some frightening and chaotic moments here at Heron Landing Park last night as this man was said to have been seen driving on pathways and on the grass out here. And this morning we're getting a good look at the man authorities are looking for. Take a look at your screen right now. The man has been identified as Robert Stephen Avery, and authorities believe he was last seen driving a 2012 gray Honda Insight with the license plate 60 ZLG895. Now, the sheriff's office tells us there was a large gathering of people of Middle Eastern descent here at the park. But then around 7:30 last night, the man started driving through the park trying to run them over. Deputies say the man was yelling at those park goers, saying he was going to shoot them and bomb them. The sheriff's office saying this is not a typical crime. They're called to investigate.
This is extremely rare. This type of thing obviously does not happen. We hear about things like this happening throughout the nation. Our community is one that we're pretty fortunate that this incident is very isolated and, I mean, few and far between.
Did you guys want to ask anything?
Now, CSI, Crime Scene Investigations Unit for the Sheriff's Office, was out here at the scene taking measurements of those tire prints, and also detectives went around getting witness statements. Fortunately, in all of this, no one was hurt, and now authorities are asking if you know anything about this incident, if you know about Robert Avery's whereabouts, you're urged to call them right away. Reporting live in Rancho Cordova, Melanie Wingo, KCRA 3 News.
Melanie, thanks so much for that live report. Meanwhile, Robert Avery is considered armed and dangerous. The sheriff's office says he's facing a number of charges, including assault with a deadly weapon, along with hate crime and criminal threat charges.
Well, happening today, court resumes in the case of an accused Davis serial killer, Carlos Dominguez. His competency trial was expected to continue today, but the Yolo County DA's office has agreed that Dominguez is not competent to stand trial and that he is not mentally well. There will be a hearing at 9 a.m. this morning. At that time, the judge is expected to officially dismiss the jury in that competency trial. Dominguez will then be sent to a state hospital until it is determined he is competent to stand trial. Well, later today, the man suspected of carrying out serial killings in Stockton is expected to be back in court. Arraignment is set to continue for this man, Wesley Brownlee. He has been held in jail since his arrest in October of last year. He's facing felony charges accusing him of killing at least 7 people in Stockton and the Bay Area. Court is scheduled for 9 a.m.
The mayor of Tracy is urging residents to go to tonight's city council meeting. She's calling for the city attorney to be removed from public office. That after the state bar has said that the city attorney's license was not in compliance last month and she wasn't allowed to practice law in California. In a letter, Mayor Nancy Young said her employment with the city was terminated on July 1st. She said in part, quote, her employment contract calls for her to be immediately terminated in the event she's unable to perform the functions of a city attorney or has her license suspended. The mayor plans to urge other council members to make sure that the current city attorney's agreement with the city is terminated, even though the city attorney's license is now in compliance. Later this morning, we'll be talking to Mayor Dr. Young about that meeting tonight. Our interview comes up at 9:30 over on My 58. Also in Tracy, the roof of a strip mall has collapsed. Check out these pictures here. This happened Saturday near East Street and East 20th Street. Police say a vehicle was driving by when it collapsed and got stuck underneath. The driver is now in the hospital, and still no word this morning on what actually caused that roof to fall.
As we near the first debate, there are mixed reactions from presidential Republican candidates over the latest indictment against former President Trump. Some are drawing clear distinctions on where they stand, while others attempt to sidestep the issue. Amy Lou is in Washington now with how the former vice president is finding himself in the middle of this latest clash.
Well, former Vice President Mike Pence is rejecting an argument from the Trump legal team about what the former president asked him to do on January 6th.
They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you.
Rallying supporters over the weekend, former President Donald Trump lashed out against federal charges for attempting to overthrow the 2020 election.
One of the last and the ultimate requests that President Trump made was to pause the voting for 10 days to allow the states to recertify or certify or audit.
But former Vice President Mike Pence refutes his former boss and attorney's claims that he was asked to delay the election certification.
They were asking me to overturn the election. I had no right to overturn the election.
The issue now dominating Republican presidential debate, questioning his conduct on January 6th.
The fact of the matter is the president wanted what happened to happen.
While others defend and vow to pardon Trump from potential prison time.
This election needs to be about January 20th, 2025, not January 6th, 2021.
Meanwhile, Trump posted on social media over the weekend promising revenge on those who have gone against him. But a spokesperson says that post refers to, quote, dishonest interest groups and super PACs, not those that are prosecuting him or those that are testifying against him. In Washington, I'm Amy Liu, KCRA 3 News.
Now, following that post, prosecutors requested a protective order that would limit what information Trump and his team can publicly share about the case. Meantime, up next, a Today Show exclusive.
I would much rather be underestimated. When they underestimate you, that's when we're able to strike. And, I think that it's been something that when people see that you're willing to show up and work, that is not something that every candidate is willing to do. And we are doing it. We're going to earn the nomination, and we're going to get the job done.
NBC's Dasha Burns sits down with Governor DeSantis for an exclusive one-on-one. He talks about closing the gap in the polls. You can see the interview on the Today Show from 7 to 9.